Alright, the Wasteseeker anomalies are up. And that means the potential to make a lot of ISK has been, well, not unlocked, but the potential is there. And I'll be using the Machariel for this job. Now, we do have four types of Wasteseeker anomalies. We have the small one, which is for frigates, destroyers, cruisers. We have the medium one, which is for cruisers and battle cruisers. We have the large one, which is for battleships and above, and you have the extra large ones, which is for capitals. Now, the reason why I really like these anomalies is the fact that they drop the same loot that you can find in Cobalt Edge, and of course, on top of that, they can also drop those Predators, Kremlers, and other expensive modules like that. So the potential to have a very good ISK drop is there. All you need to do is clear those anomalies, and there's a good chance that you might get good stuff. The crystals, the CS crystals, and the reactive metals are the two most important drops that you can find or that you can get. Why? Well, because their price currently is definitely has dropped, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can collect and find a lot of these CS crystals, collect them and keep them, and when the anomalies and when the event goes away, the price will come back and they will become much more expensive, and that's when you sell them. So now when the price drops, you can buy them from the market while they're cheap and just save them and keep them until the price goes up, and then you basically sell it for a very expensive price and you make a big profit. But the best profit is when you clear the anomalies and when you collect the minerals, and then basically sell that when the price goes up. The potential to make a lot of ISK is there, and I really do like these anomalies. Now, the ships that are usually used for clearing them, I usually like to use a sniper. I like this Machariel. I have tweaked my build a little bit. Last time I didn't have any shield booster, but I need a shield booster when I clear the large one. When I clear a large solo, the shield booster is more than enough to sustain the whole ship, since you are not going to be taking a lot of damage at extreme distances, and this Machariel can hit up to 250 kilometers with ease. So it definitely has a lot of range, and it is perfect for solo Wasteseeker anomalies. You can use this ship for the small one, you can use this ship for the medium one, and you can also use this ship for the large one. For the extra large one, I would prefer a capital, a carrier. You can technically use a battleship, but it will take just way too long. But for the other ones, a battleship is okay, it works. Does it mean that you can only use a battleship? Well, no, obviously not. You can use cruisers easily, frigates easily. These anomalies are free for all ships basically, which is a very nice thing that we have at the moment. My friend found a Predator Scrambler out of the blue, just like that. So yeah, you do have a very good chance to find them, and they are very valuable modules that you can sell or use. I actually prefer, and I recommend that if you find these modules, that you sell them, since they're very expensive, and the normal modules, the cheaper ones, just get the job done. But if you want to use those expensive modules, you're free to do so as well. Just keep in mind that they're super rare, very, very rare, and they are valuable. And I believe the best thing to do is to to sell them. But that's me, of course. I don't really use a lot of expensive stuff nowadays. I mean, I even started to sell most of my expensive ships. Currently in the process of basically trying to sell my navies. I really need to stop flying expensive ships. Need to start using the cheap ones more. They're more fun. Of course, there is a place for the expensive ships. There always is a place for expensive ships, but I don't know. Lately, I started to really enjoy the cheaper ships. They seem a lot more fun, mostly because I just don't have to worry about losing them. This Machariel is technically cheap, but it's a very old ship. I had this Machariel for how many years now? 4 years. It remains my oldest ship in service. And will probably be the oldest battleship, maybe, I don't know. How many day 1 tier 8 battleships are still alive? And when I say still alive, if the ship has been destroyed, I don't count that. If it's destroyed, it's gone. How many day 1 faction battleships are still alive now? Probably not many. I know this thing is one of the oldest, one of the first ones built. Built in top secrets, in secrecy, because at the time, building such a ship was special. It was very expensive, and it was basically the same thing. It felt the same way super capitals feel now. At the time, they were the most expensive and the largest ship that you can own. Now, since I'm already touched to the topic of super capitals, or in this case super carriers, right now the hot topic that I hear is Titans. Now, I have no idea, no info, nothing regarding Titans. The only thing I have is just pure speculation. But based on, I'm trying to set up a correlation between them releasing the faction or the new Lancers to the release of Dreadnoughts, of the original Dreadnoughts. If we do pull a correlation like that, maybe we're looking at Titans at the anniversary, since it does kind of match the timeline. And one thing that does make this theory a bit more valid is the fact that they did originally plan to release Titans on the last anniversary. Titans have been planned last year on the last anniversary, but they have been obviously delayed since we haven't received them at the last anniversary. So at the moment, now it's February, end of February, 22nd February. We are 6 months away from Titans. That's my estimate. 6 months away from Titans. Since August is the 8th, we are 6 months away from Titans, technically. Technically 6 big updates away from the largest and most powerful ships of EVE. Now, what can happen until then? I have no idea. But we may see more space being opened, and we may see more sub-capitals being added to the game. I've heard the topic of Triglavians. I don't really think Triglavians will come anytime soon. That's just my honest thought. I don't think Triglavians will be added anytime soon. If they are added, it's going to be hilarious, since Yang hasn't been added yet. But I don't really see Triglavians being anywhere near release at the moment. Would be good if they are released. Could potentially, I mean, I'm just speculating, but it is possible that they are also coming on the anniversary. Yangyun can also be on the anniversary. So many ifs and so many maybes. Maybe the Sea and Ocean will be released by then as well. That would be fun. A Sea and Ocean super carrier, high sec super carrier. Maybe. Anyway, I don't know, since I already touched on that topic, and I did do some digging around. Well, when I say digging around, I looked at the past and I looked at the past releases, and then I just tried to find a pattern. Basically, that's what I did. Try to find a pattern from the old releases, from the old updates, and I'm trying to piece together a potential clue on what's the next thing. But I'll talk more about that when the time is right. Now I want to come back to the Machariel here. Now the drones have a hull on thermal. They have a hull on thermal, which means that thermal weapons will most likely do a bit more damage than other weapon types. Although the difference is minimal. Cannons, thermal drones, thermal missiles are basically the ideal thing for the drones. You can use lasers, but the lasers damage does drop off significantly at armor. It will get the job done, just have to keep in mind that lasers just do that. Lasers are just like that. And cannons seem to have the best possible range. It is really easy for me to just snipe all of these ships with the Machariel. It's a ship that can run all of these sites with ease. You can do the same thing with the Cinnabal or with the Salos. I mean, both are cannon ships, and they will be able to clear the small one and medium one with ease. Especially the Salos, since it has the battle mode, and with the battle mode you can pull off some very evil DPS. That thing is scary. Does require a kite build, does require it to be fast, but it is doable. It is honestly not a big problem. The cells can pull it off very easily. I did take the Machariel because I plan to clear all of them. I'm not specifically hunting for one type. I cleared the large one, I cleared the medium one, and I cleared the small one. And at the moment, if you want to do all of them in a decent time frame, then a battleship is basically one of the options that you can take. A fleet is recommended, although when it comes to a fleet, then you have to share the loot. Sharing the loot is sometimes, I mean, if you want maximum profits, you don't want to share, right? So in the end, you kind of want to run it solo, but it is also fun to do some teamwork. So you can run these anomalies with a team if you like, of course. It is player preference. But in my case, if I want maximum profits, then I am going to be running most of them. I'll be running them mostly solo. With the Machariel, or I may even take some other ships to change things. I've been wondering about a Barghest. How would a Barghest run these? Well, maybe the Barghest isn't exactly the best idea with the large missiles, because the damage application of the large missiles on the smaller drones might be horrific. When I say horrific in a bad way, might be, doing absolutely nothing, which would be pretty hilarious. And I definitely do not want to get tackled by the small ships, since they can be quite evil. Their DPS can be quite evil. Not the DPS, but they carry a lot of webs. They carry a lot of E-War, scramblers and stuff, so they're pretty nasty. You don't want them. You definitely do not want any of these ships close to your ship, because that's just bad news. Because that is honestly just bad news. Unless, of course, you're a tanky ship. I've been thinking about a navy. How would a navy run this? A navy battleship, since they're tanky, and luckily I do have one navy that I plan to drop on these anomalies. The Tempest fleet basically should be able to run these with ease, since that thing is a chunk. It's a flying brick basically. So I am really not worried about a navy. That's the next thing that I'll be doing. I'll try to clear these anomalies with a navy battleship. Should be easy. Should be quite easy to do that. And I think this is the last wave. Yeah, it is the last wave. As you can see, the Machariel runs these with ease. The one difference from this build and my last build is the shield booster. I remember back then when I was running this for the first time, I had a pure kite build and I completely relied on distance, which worked fine. It honestly worked fine. But one thing I did encounter a problem with was with a large one, since the ship does take a little damage, and little by little, you do lose quite a bit of shield. And literally one booster, if I had the booster back then, it would be much easier for me to just to clear all of that. So that's basically the build that I recommend to use now if you want to use a long-range kite battleship. 4000 DPS with my current build, not bad at all actually. 4000 DPS with long-range artillery cannons is pretty decent, and it does slap really well. Does slap really well. And now I'll be collecting the wrecks. Very curious to see what's inside of them. But for the most part, yeah, that would be how a medium. This was a medium Wasteseeker, by the way. I found a lot of medium ones. I haven't seen a small one. Not really sure why. I think the small ones are being focused down by smaller ships. The small ones are being focused on by smaller ships. I believe that's just my theory. I have seen a lot of mediums, and I also seen quite a bit of large ones. Now, when I go and do a large one, I will probably have my alt to loot nearby, just to loot. Since I also remember last time my loot was being stolen. Well, there has been. It was stolen for sure. I lost a Predator Scramble that way because it was stolen. So in order to avoid that, I will have my alt there to loot. That's the thing. The one problematic thing is if you're solo, it takes a while. Definitely can take a while. While it's not too long, it can take long enough for someone to just come in and take the wrecks, and potentially they can just take all the important stuff. Which also brings me to one thing: if you are an alpha clone and if you want ISK, I actually recommend that you try to find players who are clearing these anomalies and then try to steal the wrecks, loot the wrecks. You have a good chance to find something expensive, and if you do find something expensive, you can sell that on the market for a good price. So that's one of the ways how you can also make ISK in a very short amount of time. But that would be it for the medium Wasteseeker anomaly. It was pretty smooth, pretty decent. And now I'll just loop this, and I'll just go to the next one, and hopefully I get some good stuff. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.